How many people in here have not heard me speak before? Show of hands. Okay, a little bit higher. Okay, this is fantastic. I'm Ed Ballou. Yeah. For me, sports is the perfect analogy for business, right? Overcoming adversity, fighting through pain, dealing with stuff. And I look at events like this, where we get together, and by the way, just to give you guys a perspective that don't have the perspective that I have after 24 years of being in this marketplace. Pondeminium is the biggest event in the industry, followed by an event put on by a distributor out in Oklahoma that I'll be at later this month and also enjoying myself, followed by pondeminium. And just to give you a perspective, this stuff that we're in here right now, this is about as good as it gets right here. The rest of the industry events, they don't have the energy. I guarantee you they're not going to start off with a sports montage that probably 90% of us can relate to in the audience. They don't have that energy, and it takes energy to get things done. And so it's events, for me, like Pondeminium last week, Pondeminium this week, that refuel my energy to go out there and fight the fight of business. I don't know about you guys, but there's a good question for you. What is the most important thing? And I'm sure there's many answers, but let's discuss this. What is the most important thing for business owners and teammates? What is the most important thing for success in business? Some of the traits. What are some of the traits that are the most important thing? Integrity, good. Ethics, we just heard from Jerry Nelson, one of my friends, an 85-year-old dynamo that started over 40 businesses. And he said there's only two things that you can control, and one of them was your ethics. Ethics, integrity, absolutely extremely important. Perseverance, okay? Anybody in here lived through 2008? 2009? 2010? 2014. That's a good year for us. Okay? Anybody think 2015 is going to be a good year? I'm going to come back to that one. Tom, I think, said that. Perseverance. I'll come back to that. The man with a torn ACL 1 week ago from playing basketball that was out there hopping to Tony Horton this morning working out. Huh? Not bad. Well, you kind of were bad, but you only had one leg. Perseverance. I want you to think about this. Most important trait that you yourself as a business owner have to succeed in business. Attitude and passion. I'll go with attitude, passion. I'm going to tell you this right now. If your passion sucks, how do you think your people's passion is going to be? The frustrating thing for me is knowing how important events like this are for people, and the people that need to be here the most, and they're going home and kicking their dog and saying life sucks. Does life suck? If you're going home and kicking the dog, it does. If you're coming here and dealing with other people that have been dealing with life and dealing with all of the challenges that life has, then you might get a little perseverance, a little perspective, a little passion. I think the most, for me, important trait for succeeding in business is passion. Because in 2008, when we got taken out by the knees and $12 million I lost that year in revenue from the year before. $12 million out the window, gone. Did it come like, was I expecting that? Did my budget for the next year say, we're going to drop $12 million? Holy cow! I'm sitting there going, what the hell just happened? Oh, a little thing called home equity lines of credit went away. A little thing called ponds are luxuries and they're not necessities went away. So, at that moment, I could either say, life ain't fair, and I'm going to buy into life and go home and kick the dog. or I could have a little thing called passion. Yes? But I'm going to talk about this to key up my actual topic that I did prepare. Yesterday morning before I got on the plane here, I actually put down 5 slides. I prepared. Usually I just come up and talk. But 3 hardest things that have ever happened to me in business. I've been pretty lucky in my life. And what I learned from them. And the third one is what I'll then segue into my talk. How's that sound? Good way to kick off the day here, just talking about basically what we just saw on screen with sports people. First hardest thing, the hardest thing in business and in life that I ever had to deal with. Anybody know what that would be? I got married. Yeah. You said marriage, right? Your wife's not here. Would have been fun, Jason. My business, I started it. In fact, you know, it's kind of cool. I was thinking about this as I was trying to fall asleep last night. Anybody else have a problem falling asleep after you've been up talking? Okay. I'm thinking, I go, man, you know, we're not too far from New Jersey. Okay. New Jersey is where I was born. New Jersey is where I lived until I was 12 years old. And if I wasn't born and lived in New Jersey in a little place called Medford Lake, South Jersey, in the New Jersey Pine Barrens, I didn't spend every day catching turtles, fish, and frogs, okay, we might not be here today. You know how interesting life is with that. So I started my business after my junior year at the national championship team, The Ohio State University, OH, IO, there's my college buddy. How cool is that? And my business took off in its second year. On August 2nd, 1992, the Chicago Tribune ran a front page story on me, really taught me the power of public relations. We'll talk a little bit about that. And my business took off. All of a sudden, I went out one week after the sale. I sold 8 jobs in one day. Good day. Okay, 8 design consultations, 8 ponds. I will always remember coming home at the end of that day, seeing my mom, my dad, and my sister sitting at the kitchen table eating dinner, reaching in my back pocket and pulling out $36,000 in deposit checks. 8 ponds, 22-year-old kid. Okay, this stuff is easy. Okay, if you believe it, if you see it. Okay, I believe everybody wants a water feature, they just don't know it. Yeah. Right? Good. You guys are obviously a good choir here. So my dad came in, I mean, literally after that Saturday, that was a Saturday, article came out on Sunday. My dad came into the business because I had to go build the ponds that I just sold. I had to go back to college, hang out with Mike. And so it was interesting. My dad is an engineer. And I am not an engineer. I'm a blocking fullback. Okay, I'm pretty much the polar opposite of my dad. Okay, which actually is extremely important in business, to have people to round you up. But if you're a 20-something-year-old wild-ass entrepreneur and you are now dealing in business with your 50-something-year-old conservative engineer dad, one's going to be the gas pedal and one's going to be the, okay? So we started butting heads right away. And I did not really butt heads with my dad when he was an engineer going to work with a suit and tie every day, but I started butting heads in business. So for 3 years, I struggled through working with my dad, and then he became Aquascape's first competitor out in the marketplace. Anybody in here work with family? Is that easy? So my dad was a competitor for 8 years to Aquascape, and I didn't talk to my dad for 8 years. Anybody believe that God has a plan in your lives? So in 2006, my dad called me up one day and he said, hey, son. I go, is grandma okay? And he goes, I'm thinking about selling my business. Would you like to get in? Wow. I was reading the paper. It's a Sunday morning. I'll never forget. Met with him the next day, and a month later, we were working again together. And I look back at that, perseverance. Okay, I look back at that and I say, you know what? I really wanted to prove myself to my dad. I really wanted to show him that I could do this and I could make this thing work. And I could do it without a roadmap. My dad wanted a roadmap of everything. He's an engineer. He wants a plan. If I was in the Marines, I'd say, there's a hill, let's take it. My dad would draw a schematic and say, I think this is the fastest route. We go through here. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, you need both. But it just didn't work for my dad and I. And now my dad and I, it's great. We've gone full circle. I love my dad more than anything. We talk football we talk football and pictures. Those are the two things my dad and I connect. We do not talk skimmer filters. If you want to see my dad and I fight, bring up a bellows flap. Okay? It just does not work in our family. We don't talk about that. So that's the first hardest thing I ever had to deal with. The second hardest thing happened, what's the date today? February 5th. February 11th, 2011, the second hardest thing in business happened to me. Okay? Anybody know what that was? 24 inches of snow. Get a call, I'm taking a nap. I mean, how often is, I could not be more relaxed. It's a Sunday afternoon. I'm taking a nap. The phone rings. It's Colleen Heitzler, our president, person that actually runs the joint. And she says, hey, I'm on my way to Aqualand right now. Part of the roof has collapsed. Now, instantaneous high blood pressure. My first thought was a panel had come down in the warehouse, which was not good with inventory back there right in the start of our season. And I got there and I turned the corner and I saw the entire 700-foot span of the building on the ground. And I fell on the ground. And I thought I was done. I was blowing out my ACL as Derrick Rose for a second time. 2011, business real strong at this point. The beginning of our year, my building has collapsed. I cannot enter my building because it's condemned. The architect comes down the next day from Wisconsin, brings out the schematics and says, I'm concerned that the rest of the building is going to fall like a domino. Just flatten like a pancake. You talk about not being able to be in control. We all think we're in control. And then you get 24 inches of snow and somebody screws up and forgets to put $184,000 in joists in. That's what it took. It took $16 million to build the building, $10 million to fix it, and $184,000 in reinforcing joints would have kept it from falling down. Let me tell you something. I'm glad my building fell down. A, it happened on a Sunday, nobody was there, nobody got killed. And B, anybody want to talk football? Now I'm on my level. Anybody know who won the national championship this year for college football? I got a question for you. Little adversity for that team? Did they do it with their first string quarterback? Heisman favorite? No. Did they do it with their second string quarterback? Heisman finalist? Who'd they do it with? Some guy that nobody knew the name of because he was a third string QB that led them to three games that they were all underdogs in. Kind of the definition of team, right? I'm going to tell you something. After our building fell down, that night, all the managers were at my house. It was about midnight when we finally broke off. And the last thing somebody said got everybody in the entire room laughing. And they said, who was the last person at Aqualand? And it turned out to be our IT guy that was in there on a Sunday. And we said, man, we got to tell him not to slam the door too hard. And at that moment, I knew this team was ready for the hardest thing that this team had ever had to deal with. And 3 days after the building collapsed, I mean, it was just, the world was upside down. We couldn't even talk to you guys. We couldn't get to our servers. We couldn't even communicate to our customers. We could only communicate to our teammates through our outside social media. And 3 days after that, I had to leave to Virginia, I think it was, and talk at a distributor location. And when I was leaving, Brian Helfrich, first of all, the team's like, you got to go out there and do your thing. We're going to stay in here and do our thing. I'm not reinforcing the joists in the company. And Brian said, he said, we got your back. That's awesome. Aquascape at one time had 195 teammates. It was called 2007. And we went down from 195 to 110. And our sales went from 60 million to 30 million. Kind of hard. And here's where today I look at that. I look at that as, thank God, because what happened with the building collapsing, adversity can either pull you apart or pull you together in your business. And when it pulls you apart, I'm going to tell you exactly what happens. You lose your passion because you deal with the shit of life every day, and it kicks you in the nuts, and you decide to stay down on the ground because you don't want to get up again. Or, I don't even have a mic. Or, you could be like our keynote speaker at pondeminium, who's 48 years old and went through 3 major injuries on his pursuit of the world record in the mile. And this dude, who's pretty much many of our ages in here, not only came back from the first injury and the second injury and the third injury. Your body kind of falls apart when you're running 75 miles a week and jumping steeples and things like that when you're our age. He set not 1, not 2, but 3 world records. Was it easy? Was that easy to set a world record? He's a white guy from Utah, and he beat the Kenyans. Like, this does not happen. That's the kind of guy that I want to surround myself with. That's the kind of guy I want to surround who with? The people I'm doing life with. You guys. Wait till you hear Brad Barton speak this year at pondeminium. Who's interested in that? And I got another sports dude, because once again, it's just so easy, that I saw on ESPN 30 for 30. Anybody ever watch ESPN 30 for 30s? Does anybody else ever cry at those things, get fired up and get, hairs on the back of your neck stand up? That's my kind of stuff. I can relate to that stuff. And I met this guy, and I go, man, I want you, my speaker next year. One of my friends now. I want to hang out with people that will push me, people that will get me better. You guys push me and get me better. Do you know why? Why do you guys push me and get me better? I'm going to tell you. And it's how I started out my talk today. I have passion for what I do because I drink a lot of iced tea, and I get fired up by helping other people succeed. The greatest satisfaction in life. Are you writing this down? This is good stuff right here. I'm going to give you one of my personal favorite quotes. Write this down if you want to think like this, because this is how I think. This is why I'm up here today. This is why I flew out here, because this is what gives me the passion to go back and deal with the shit that's going to happen inevitably tomorrow when someone tries to screw me in business. Does that happen? Yes, that's pretty much every day. The greatest satisfaction in life. That's a pretty big statement. The greatest satisfaction in life comes from helping someone else reach their fullest potential. Mr. Ed Ballou, a scientist turned rock star, grub eater, undisputed star of Nat Geo Wild Pond Stars, right? What a perfect network for Ed. I should have been on Spike. Which takes me to my actual presentation, if I get to it, which is the third hardest thing that at 44 years old I've ever had to do in my life. First one was a business and personal dissolvement with my dad. The second one was watching my dream of a workplace utopia, Aqualand, crumble to the ground, okay, and not feeling in control. And the third hardest thing that I've ever had to do in my entire life was film a reality TV show. Who would have thunk it? Filming a reality TV show was the third hardest thing. Got a question for you. Is life about taking the easy route? No. I guess for one guy it isn't. I got a question for you. Is life about taking the easy route? Success is a journey, not a destination. Are you guys with me here? Because I'm going to tell you something from the heart that actually I feel that I want you to know. And that is, Thank God, God put me through the hell of filming a reality TV show. Because of what I went through, I'm able to be the person that I am today and doing what I'm doing. And what I'm doing is filming my own reality TV show. How many business owners in here, again, show of hands? How do you do when someone else gives you orders? Now I want you to put yourself in my shoes. Do you think I'm a little bit passionate about my baby Aquascape? Just a wee bit passionate? Imagine the elation that I felt when finally, after work and trying and figuring this stuff out, we finally got a phone call that said, we would like you to be on our TV program and we want to film a reality show about your baby. Do you know that my goal is to have everybody in the world have a water feature? Now all of a sudden I could actually say this to the world. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited do you think I was when I got that call? Oh, hold on. After getting a call a few months before that saying you made it to the final round, but you know, one executive decided that people don't dream about ponds, they dream about pools. So they're going to make a show on pools, okay, and they're going to call it Pool Master instead of you. And then he frickin' builds ponds. The world is a mysterious place, my friends. So we lost out to Anthony Archer Wills. Just, do things happen for a reason? Do you know that when they're happening to you? When shit's happening to you, do you know why the reasons are? So it was not to be that Animal Planet that bought our show. That was not to be. So we ended up on a network called Nat Geo Wild. We actually got that network. We were one of the few that got that cable package, and we actually enjoyed that programming with our kids. Lions and tigers and bears. That's stuff we'd watch on that network. So I'm like, okay, great. We're on another network. Let's do this thing. So 3 days before we began filming, perfect time of the year to film pond installations, third week of October in Chicago. I meet my new boss. Now, I have had bosses before. The last boss I had, I was 20 years old and had a whistle around my neck. And I was a lifeguard. And I had a 34-year-old woman that came in and she told me how it was going to be. She said, here's how we are going to script you to tell our story of your baby. And I said, do I have any say in this? And she said, no. Here's your lines, read them. Oh, but you have to find the jobs. And you have to build the jobs, and then we'll script you the way we want to portray you in the show. And I said, but I really know a lot of stuff about science and bacteria. I want to talk about that stuff. They said, no, we're going to give that role to Ed. All right. That was a joke. So I got another question for you. Do you think that Ed Ballou and Brian Helfrich had as much of an issue with this as me? No. They're used to dealing with assholes. Pawn Stars. Guess who picked the name Pawn Stars? They did. Guess how many options I gave them to pick of, none of which included Pawn Stars? 78. I put a contest on. I opened up to the company. I said, what do you think we should call this show? Koi Boy was the favorite. And they said, that's very nice. We're calling you Pawn Stars. We did not like the name. Guess what? It's kind of grown on us. You can deal with this. We are not. Obviously, they were trying to play off of, okay, which of course has always been a challenge. I've seen your show. No, we were pond. Oh, what? Okay, awareness, getting it out there. So second day, building a pond for my neighbors, Tony and Sherry Romano, hot-headed Italians. That's a fun story. And how'd that job come to be? Well, I flipped them 38 projects, 21, 22 of which were on our books, and a bunch of other ones that we had that we could get, one of which included my neighbors. And after 38 jobs, oh, we got one that we could actually do, which is the fat koi, skinny koi stream. Who actually watched that show? Okay, that came from, and I said, I can't pull 38 jobs out of my butt every single time for you to pick one. We got to figure something out here that's a little better. And we're on set, and the producer walks up to me, the showrunner. They run the show. This is my boss. She's 34. Very sweet lady. Too sweet. Sometimes the sweet ones get you. And she said, I want to get second day. I want to get one thing straight. I don't work for you. This is new world for me, guys. This is I don't play in this world. The first show that we saw was in July. We stopped filming in May. Up until that time, we had seen 30 seconds of footage that they shot. They said, no, we're not going to share with you the footage. Why? Because I wasn't in control. Now, here's something about me, and I actually went through a lot of cathartic, prayer and deep meditation and a little bit of alcohol. Yes, I drink tea. This reality show turned me to drinking. We'd only seen 30 seconds of the show, and here's what I learned about myself. I do not have to be in charge. Do you guys believe that? Thank you, Dustin. I have one fan. I do not have to be in charge, and those of you who would work at Aquascape would know that very well. Who runs the joint? The smart one, right? The CFO that made sure she saved our ass when our company got cut in half, right? So I hire smart people and put them in positions to succeed. And I give them the tools and the resources to succeed, and I surround myself with people that are smarter than me, and hopefully in the process, they pull me up. And that's kind of been my motto. In fact, this is an excellent question if you're a CEO of a company in here, to ask yourself. This is what I asked myself when I was digging holes. This is what I asked myself when I was selling ponds. This is what I asked myself when I was designing catalogs. Is this the job of a CEO? Are you writing that down? Is this the job of a CEO? Is the job of a CEO plowing? Is the job of a CEO cleaning ponds? Is the job of a CEO paying the bills, doing social media? Okay? The answer for everyone is different. But I asked myself that question, and here's what I found more times than not. Nah, this is the job of a graphic designer. Nah, this is the job of a pond salesman. Nah, this is the job of a foreman. Now, if you're still doing the things that you were doing 10, 15, 20 years ago, one, I don't know how you do it and still have the passion that you have for it, because I can tell you this, I get bored real easy, okay? But two, you're limited to your own bandwidth when you're doing it all. And I want other people's bandwidths in my company, because that's how we grew, by me asking the question, is this the job of a CEO? So here's what I learned about myself that I knew, but this show taught me. And that is, I do not have to be in charge. I turn over the reins of my company so that it could actually grow and I don't hold it back. But I need to be collaborated with. I have to collaborate in order to feel that I'm contributing. Does that make sense? I did not feel that way with the show because I didn't collaborate. I was told. And I'm not a poodle that jumps through flaming hoops when someone blows a whistle. I'm a pit bull that will go through a flaming hoop if you explain to me how it is and I get to design the ramp. That was my letter. I thought that was a good analogy. I don't hold back. I wrote a letter. I thought it was kick-ass. I sent it to her. I got a reply. This is nice. Thanks for sharing. Pitbull. So, not my plans. Nat Geo Wild put us on a network with lions and tigers and bears. They didn't put us on Animal Planet, surprisingly human. They put us on the lions and tigers and bears, not turtles, fish, and frogs. Just talked to my manager 2 nights ago, and man, have I learned a lot. God, isn't it fun to learn? I have learned a lot. My manager said, Greg, I just came back from the industry convention. Every single cable channel across the board is down 10 to 20%. Every single one, except for one. Guess which one it was? The frickin' network we were on that fired us. They were the only network of any cable network, and there's hundreds, that had growth. You know why? They've dialed in their audience. People that like lions and tigers and bears and veterinarians that put their hands up cows' butts. Have you watched Dr. Pol? Doesn't your wife think that that's her favorite show? Yes. I actually stuck my hand up the butt to see if this is what success looked like. It was disgusting. Brian actually threw up. Watching me stick the hand up the butt. Ed was like, this is cool. So here's the deal. Pawn Stars was on the wrong network. Good network. Dialed in their audience. Know their message. Their message ain't ours. You know what would have been a fantastic network for us? Animal Planet. No, not HGTV because it's all H. There's no G left. We did get an offer from them. I turned it down. Why? I don't want to have a boss. I don't want to lose control of my baby. I don't want someone else telling my story. It's my story. It's our story. I don't want to focus on bogus scripted stuff. I sat down with Ed and Brian and Chris, boy, and I said, what was the biggest complaint that you guys had? And every one of them said the exact same thing. It wasn't having the boss, that was mine, and not being collaborated with. It was, you know, we didn't enjoy the scripting. When you guys saw a scene on that show, the average number of takes to produce that scene was 6. And I was not born with this thing called patience. And try laughing at the same joke. You know, I know Brian's not funny, but I am. Try laughing at the same joke 6 times and have it come off as natural. This was hell. Hell on wheels. 16-hour days, filming in miserable conditions on the road. And you know what? Thank God we did that. Because here's what I was doing that I didn't know, that nobody said, here's a plan for you. Read this book and you will be perfect. Here's the plan. I got my undergraduate in making reality TV by being the talent, which is, my contract said talent. I got paid the talent, $6,500 an episode. That's a week. Okay? I was actually not a week, it was 2 weeks for $6,500 because it was a build a week. You don't build an 11 by 16 pond in a day when you have to shoot every scene 6 times. I was talent. I wasn't co-producing. Well, today, I am proud to say, after receiving my undergrad in the world of reality TV, I am now co-producing and on my way to my master's, producing Aquascape Pawn Stars. Now, I'm going to show you the very first take of Aquascape Pawn Stars. 7.5 minutes long. We are working with our manager to get it on Hulu and Netflix. Right now, it will go on this little thing that you might have heard about called YouTube that a lot more people get than Nat Geo Wild as they're cutting cable. And on a scale of 1 to 10, what you're going to see, my own take on this, is it's about, if 10 is Nat Geo Wild, we're at about a 7 or an 8. Can I live with a 7? I prefer to get an 8. Do I need a 10? Do I need a 10? Let me tell you what a 10 looks like. A 10 looks like a dozen people on set. We filmed in October, November, January, February, March, April, and May, and it premiered in September for 6 weeks. I'm going to film now, and 2 weeks later, 2 to 3 weeks later, throw it up on YouTube. And if I can get it out at an 8, I'm good. Anybody look at their first ponds, and are they proud of them? This is my first pond, right here. My budget, $2,500. The budget for Nat Geo Wild, anybody want to guess what the budget to produce a single episode of Nat Geo Wild Pond Stars was? $250,000. Where the hell do these people spend the money? I'll tell you where. 6 takes. I'll tell you where. Everything sounds perfect. All the lighting is perfect. There's not a single plane going overhead whenever we shot, even though 50% of the time we were shooting, we had to stop because the guy's picking up garbage in the front yard. You know what? You're going to watch a flub. I'll see. I want to see how many of you catch my flub. And you know what I did? I said, what the hell ever. This is real life. I just keep rolling the cameras. I'm not going to stop, spend 30 minutes setting up the scene again, and about put a gun to my head. Now, so in Cabo, I got a little criticism. I showed the second episode that I hadn't edited yet. And someone came up and they said, you know what? You're only at I was probably a 6. This is at a 7. I want to get to an 8. Why don't we just go for a 10? Why don't we just go for a 10 for everyone? I'm not going to wait 6 months to show you what I'm doing. Because if you look at the bar that exists, this is a good analogy. If you look at the bar that exists, this is YouTube. Do your kids watch YouTube? Have you ever seen the quality of the videos on YouTube? Here's the quality of where YouTube is. Here's the quality of where we come in. Here's Nat Geo's quality. Now, here's a good analogy with this. When I hired Ed Ballou, here was my quality of building ponds, and here's where Ed's. True. I know he's almost caught up to me. But where was the customer's expectations? And he over-delivered for the customer's expectations. So, without any further pomp and circumstance, here is the very first episode, filmed indoors. How do you film in Chicago in November? You know, outdoors. An indoor pond. You guys ready to see the first episode of Aquascape Pond Stars? Yeah. Okay. What time is it?
We're building a display pond for the second annual Aquatic Experience Show. Did you bring the bathing suit? Creative minds collide during the design process. Hey guys, we got too hard of the design here. Well, tensions arise when mistakes are made on the job. Every bag, I just want you to say, I'm sorry. Remember. And we get to meet some of our die-hard fans that showed up to see their favorite pond stars. I like you already. Yeah, exactly.
How cool is Wild? That's neat.
Experience, or experience. The World Association's been around since 1951, trying to help the industry grow. And the whole idea here is to help grow this aquatic industry. We looked at it a few years ago and said, you know what, we need some help. So we decided to put on this event, bring freshwater and saltwater together. How long have you been involved in this industry? Since 1969. Wow. I'm old. I'm really old. I'm an old dude. I was around then, not us. Okay. Well, show us. We're building a fun. Show us where. Well, we're just getting started, as you can see, by all the junk hanging around here today. The Aquatic Experience Show is a show filled with fellow fish geeks, which is why we're really excited to show them what the ultimate fish tank looks like, a backyard water garden. Come back in 2 days and we'll have water flowing and fish swimming. I'll be here all too. All right, guys. We have a 20 by 30 foot space. Talking with the director of the show, we said if we want to come a little bit further this way, we can. If we want to come a little bit further this way, we can. And let the guys cut the wall from the rock. But either way, I'm on the pond right close to a viewing area here. UG and Koi Cam. Koi Cam today. Okay? Yep. And a TV. I don't have a TV, but I have a Koi Cam. Well, I'll get the TV. The details, Brian, the details. The Koi Cam is a brand new product from Aquascape, and I'm a little concerned that Brian wasn't going to get it right, and that's why I asked him, and sure enough, he forgot the TV. It's okay, though, because I know that he is going to have a fantastic design. If there's one person I trust with the design, it's Brian. We can either put the waterfall in this corner, face it out this way, or that corner, face it out. I would say that corner. But that doesn't work. Because then that would be very entrance. And then you would be asking me to redesign the booth. Well, you remember when I said we had to take 3 minutes to do that, so. Managers over there. Would you think too hard of the design? You go, we're wrong. I'm going to wait for 6 days. So I may not have been involved in the design process the way that Brian wanted me to be, but once we got to the show, it was clear where the waterfall had to go. I mean, the whole idea of a waterfall is to draw people in. It's the sights and the sounds and that view going out to the main viewing area of the entire show. It's going to suck people into our booth, and that's the whole purpose. So despite all of our differences and all the discussions that we had, I got my way. I think it's such a small show, it's okay wherever the waterfall goes. Everyone's going to see it. We can do that. I can take it this way. See? So you got your way. No, I am getting in his way. Yes. Okay. One of our biggest challenges that we have here is we're building above ground. As you can see, we're on top of concrete. Normally in a backyard situation, we're excavating everything down, digging down into the soil. But in this application, we can't do that. So what we're doing is we're building everything up. So what we're doing is we're putting in a big wall system all the way around the perimeter, and then we have to fill in everything around the outside. So it's kind of doing it actually backwards. That's why you never hook up the spout before. I know. Shouldn't know. So it's so funny to see Ed come and work with us on this project because you can see how out of sorts he is. You know, he gets a little sniffle, he gets a little wrinkle, and his mind gets all foggy. I mean, this is construction 101, especially in our crew. You never, ever hook up the biofall snout until the whole waterfall's finished. The goofball goes and hooks up the biofall snout, and now we're trying to cram things back behind there. Nothing fits right. It's just a pain in the butt. Man, I hate it when Ed's sick. Especially you. See how hard this is right now? I know where this is going. Trying to get this mulch underneath here? Yeah. This is always solved if you don't hook up the faceplate right away. You always wait till the end to hook up the faceplate. That was me. You know, he gets trying to move things along. He gets a little sniffle and he's all off his game. Every bag, I just want you to say, I'm sorry. I glance over and see the biofalls isn't hooked up. So I go over and take care of it. I may have jumped the gun a little bit. It may have come back to bite us in the butt. But despite me not being on my game, apologizing to Brian is never going to happen. How cool is it that people actually really enjoy the show that we did and recognize us? My favorite part is the girl came over, she recognized myself, she recognized Ed. She's like, Ed, know the scientist, Brian, the construction buddy, and Chris, the new guy, hey, this is so great. And the best part for me was when I said, hey, do you remember the name of the other guy? And she was like, what other guy?
So that's our first 11 by 16 pond. Good? Good for YouTube? So I could ask your opinion on the show, but I don't care. Because here's what I found out. Because I asked Aquascape, I'm a very collaborative person, and I said, what do you guys think? And about 25 people replied on our social network. And I got 25 different responses. And people said, yeah, well, we don't think it's good that Ed, screwed up. Well, guess what? Ed screwed up. We didn't script that he was going to put the snout on. And does this happen in the real world? Are we real people? Yep. No, let's unscript that because it doesn't look good that the scientist screwed up. Was it really a screw up, or was it just a little teaching moment that we could train contractors on what this is? Now, here's the deal. You guys just read chapter 11 of our book. You haven't read chapter 10 or chapter 1. Now, let me tell you how the world... Now, I only have 5 or 10 more minutes. How much more? 10 minutes. Okay, I will be honest and I will stay that. I'm a very time person. 10 minutes. I could talk from the time I get off here all night long and still be excited talking about what I missed. Is it good to have enthusiasm and excitement? I wake up every morning and spend 2 hours learning. I hated school when someone else told me what to do. I love school when I can hack it and I could learn. I subscribe to about 150 magazines that come every day to my iPad under what brand? Flipboard, which is now doing a story on us because we have 76 magazines. The last magazine will be published and on newsstands in 2019. It will be the Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition. Everything is changing. Cable will not exist 5 years from now. Network TV, 10. Anybody turn on the nightly news at 5:30 and watch Brian Jennings? Brian Williams. There's a Jennings, though. Peter Jennings. Yep. Ted Koppel. It's gone. The world's changing. When's the news come on? Anytime you want to. Ed and I are sitting in the airport and we watched a jet come down and crash and hit a taxi driver. Came inches away from killing him. Did you guys see that? Unbelievable. And that stuff happened all the time. Where did I watch it? YouTube. Uploaded to YouTube. Okay. My kids do not turn the television on in our house. The television does not go on in our house unless we're watching a Buckeye game. I used to watch the Bears, but I decided this year was my year done. Done. What do my kids do? They search and they do things. Search. I don't know if you guys know this, but I paid $7,500 a month for a PR firm to get us publicity for Pawn Stars. Nat Geo Wild didn't market Pawn Stars. You know why? That's not what they do. They spend $250,000 producing it and $0 marketing on other channels. They say, well, we'll see if it succeeds or not. They'll throw you out there to the lions and tigers and bears, and I do turtles, fish, and frogs, man. So we hired a PR firm. I paid him $7,500 a month. I'm taking that saved $7,500 and looking at SEO optimization with our videos. So they'll be out there searchable. You search ponds, waterfalls, water gardens, you're going to find our stuff, okay, out there. And people are not going to find this. I'm working so hard right now. It's so hard. In March, when it premieres, got to get enough jobs. We were supposed to build a pond in Cabo, and then the product didn't come, right? They're going to find it 6 months from now, and they're going to watch episode 11. And they're going to go, this is interesting. I want to see the preview of episode 10. And what you didn't see here is at the end of every episode, we're going to end it, and we're going to showcase what we're doing next week or 2 weeks from now. The next episode, tune in here, which people then can click and go right to the next one and the next one or back to the other one or the other one. You know how YouTube works, right? Oh, and at the end of every one, Ed's going to get up there and he's going to say, here's a biofalls, and here's why you put the snout out. He's going to look really professional and sound really good and educated. Okay? And people can either stay tuned and learn, but the actual episode itself is going to be entertainment. It's going to show some fun. It's going to have, you know, the guys goofing around. This is the formula. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. I figured out a 20-product, 20-step formula for building ponds. And trust me when I say this, I'm going to figure out a formula for creating reality TV. And it's going to start with a preview of the episode. It's going to come in with the fly. Was that flyover cool with the drone coming out? I'm jumping off the wall, you know, water. I love it. That's fun for me, right? And then it's going to come back, and then it's going to go into the actual episode. And then at the end of the episode, it's going to stay for tips and tricks from the pros and outtakes. And people can either stop after 7 minutes or 10 minutes or 12 minutes, or they can watch another 5 minutes and see the things. Is that a good way to message? Who got this book? I wrote it 10 years ago. Do not pick it up. It's worthless. Why? Because I wrote it 10 years ago. You want to know what else is worthless? This. When did I get this book? Monday. On my desk, sent to me from somebody. Every week I get 2 or 3 books that I don't read. Why? Because it's a book. Who the hell reads books anymore unless it's Laura Hillebrand, Unbroken, or Killing Patton, which I just finished reading. Great book. Killing series by O'Reilly. Awesome series. I don't read business books. Why don't I read business books? Because it's 2014. But I spend 2 hours a day, almost every morning, reading. What am I reading? Blogs. How did I hire my SEO company that's now I'm working with? Because I started reading their blog, which was content. And I started liking their stuff. And then I went to their website and I read it. And these guys know their shit. I want to surround myself with smarter people. I'm going to hire this firm. And I'm going to give them over to you. Where's the clicker, Mark? I actually have a presentation. It's there, it's there. Aquascape is a franchise system without the... I hired a professional that actually, ironically, gave me this book. Okay, I hired a professional, and I said, I want you to help my customers succeed with a very... Is SEO a hot topic right now? I want you to help me. Can you help me create online training for my customers to go through so that they can understand this stuff? Because guess what? I read 2 hours a day and I know this much. As Joe shows in his wonderful Epic Content Marketing, you must unlearn interrupting people with your nonsense. Well, I won't go there. Instead, publish valuable content they want to consume and are eager to share. Because you're affiliated with this brand. You are part of the team getting better. And if that goal gets achieved and I go from a 6 or a 7 to an 8 or a 9, we're all going to win. And more people are going to get exposed to the coolest, absolute stinking thing you can do that totally blows out irrigation out the book, which is water features. And I'm talking to the choir in here. You guys know it. Who doesn't know it yet? And we're going to show them, we're going to teach them, we're going to inspire them, and they're going to find you through SEO and what we're doing. And together, we will do what we all want to do, which is change the way the world builds ponds and change people's lives in the process. Thank you, Mark, for allowing me to participate and not have to direct something. and enjoy it. And I am here to talk as long as you want into the night about anything with content creation, because I am your chief content creator, and I want you guys to be inspired and be able to change the world in the process. Thank you very much. This was fun. Seriously, thank you.
Good. Thank you very much.
Woo! Ed Ballou, I'm here all day.
Actually, thanks, Greg, for only going